Good afternoon, Year 5, and welcome to our first maths lesson. Now, just as we did earlier in our English and Spag lesson, can we make sure we have our exercise book out, please, with the subject at the top of the page, so that'd be maths, and underneath that, the LO to use short multiplication, as well as your date, Monday the 11th of January. Now, just before we begin, just a reminder, you can pause the video at any time, you can rewind the video at any time, you can replay the video at any time. I don't mind. There's whatever makes you learn the best, okay? So let's move on to our first slide. Now here we have a group of trees. Now what I want you to do now quickly is just pause the video and have a little think at how you can work out how many trees there are on the slide. Okay, so we're back here now. So I'm sure you've all come up with some really good ideas. One thing we could do, I'm sure we could have a look at all the trees and we can count 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, obviously we know if we did it like that, it would take forever. So what we're going to do here, one way of doing things, is we could look at it as if it was like an area. So just like we do with area, we'll count how many is along the side. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And along the top, we've got 17. Okay, so now we can use the calculation that you'd use for area. So we would multiply the two together, 8 times 17, and that will tell us how many trees we have altogether. Now, I'm sure you look at 8 times 17, you think, well, I don't know how to do 8 times 17, I can't work that out. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So we've got 8 times 17 here. So the first thing we are going to do is something called partitioning. Okay, so we are going to partition this number 17. We're going to break it down into two smaller numbers. And we're going to do this because it will make it a lot easier to work out. Instead of having to work out how many 8 lots of 17, we're going to break it down. So we'll break it down into two easier numbers. So we're going to break it down into 8 times 10. Okay, shown like that, and of course then 8 by 7. Okay, now this is a lot easier now to work out. We know how to do 8 times 10, obviously, is 80, and we know 8 times 7, well, you should know 8 times 7 as 56. If you don't, then you need to practice your times tables. I'm sure there's a link on the Year 5 page to do any extra times tables that you might want to do. So we know our two numbers, and we need to make sure that we add them together at the end. So we've got 80, we've got 56, and we're going to add them together. Okay, so 8 add 56, you can either do it in your head, or if not, column addition is absolutely fine. So 8 add 56, 136, or 8 times 17, 136. Another method of doing this is exactly the same. We'll partition it, we'll break it down to 8 times 10 and 8 times 7, and we can display it a little bit differently as an area model if you'd like. If this makes a little bit more sense to you, then feel free to use this to help you. You've got 8 along the side, and then the 10 and the 7 along the top. So 8 times 10 is 80, 8 times 7 56, add them together, 136, get exactly the same answer. Now the final method we're going to be using is a short multiplication method. Now this is what I really want you all to be focusing on today. Now obviously you might get a little bit confused by this, which is why we'll run through it first. So we've got 8 times 7, 56. So just like you do in column addition, we'll put the 6 in the units columns and the 5, the 50 in the tens column, okay, just underneath the line. Then we'll move on to 8 times 1. Now, it's not 8 times 1, it's 8 times 10. It's in the tens column. So 8 times 10, we know is 80, but we've got to remember these 5 tens here. There's 50 here, so 80 add 50. So 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. And there's your answer, 136. Just the same as we got before. So here's another example of short multiplication, 24 times 7. Now, if you want to pause the video and give it a go, that's absolutely fine. If not, I will run through it with you now. So again, we'll start on this bottom number, and we'll do 7, and we'll multiply it by the 4. So 7, 14, 21, 28. So we'll put our 8 in the units column and our 2 underneath the line in the tens column, 28. We'll move on to 7 times 2. Now, it's not 7 times 2, it's 7 times 20, because it's in the tens column. So 7 times 2, we know is 14. 7 times 20, so it's 140. But we need to make sure we remember these two tens down here as well. So 140, add 20, 150, 160. And our answer, 168. Okay. So now what I'd like you to do is just pause the video again, and we know we've got our 136 trees. We've worked that out. Now I want you to imagine there are 6 apples on each of these trees. How would you go about working out how many apples there were altogether? What calculation could you use? So pause the video, have a little think. Okay, so what we could do is do the 136 and we can multiply it by 6, all those 6 apples, to work out how many we've got altogether. So again, we can use short multiplication. So 6 multiplied by 6 equaling, you should know it, 36. So you put your 3 in your tens column, 6 in your units column, and then again, we look at the 6 and we multiply it by 3, or 30. So 6 times 3 we know is 18, but it's 30, so it's 180. And then we've got to remember these 3 tens down here. So 190, 200, 200 in the hundreds column, and 10. Then we've finally got the 6 times the 100, we know is 600. Add these 200s on the end, 700, 800. And that's our final answer, 816. So if you didn't understand it, don't worry. Rewind the video, have another look, and I've got some more for you to do here. So pause the video, give these a go. Don't worry if you make any mistakes, just give it your best shot, and we'll run through the answers afterwards. Okay, year 5, welcome back. Hopefully you've had a go at them. So we've now got 42 multiplied by 7. So we're going to do exactly what we did before. So we've got the 7 times the 2, we know is 14. So we're going to put a 10 in the tens column, like so, and our 4 in the units column. 7 times by 4, or 7 times by 40, 28, no, 280. Make sure we add this 10 down here, so it's 290. 294. Okay, hopefully that all makes sense. We'll have a look at the next one now. Remember, you can pause, rewind at any point you like. So again, 7 times by 2, we know is 14, so we'll put the 4 in the units, 1 in the 10. 7 by 40, we know is not 28, 280. Remembering this here, so it's 290, so we'll put a 2 in the hundreds column, 9 in the tens column. And then we've got 7 times by 1, we know is, or 7 by 100 in our hundreds column, 700. Don't forget these 2 down here, so not 700, 800, 900. And our answer, 994. Then finally, we'll have a look at this last one quickly. So again, exactly the same. 7 by 2, we should be an expert at this now. 14, 4 in the units, 1 in the tens. 7 by 4, we know is 28. Don't forget this one down here, but it's 280, so it's 200 in this column, 9 into this column. Now we've got 7 times by 100 again, we know is 700, add the 2, 900. And then finally we've got 7 times by 3,000. Now it's a really big number. We know 7 times by 3. So 7 times by 3 is 21, but it's 3,000, so it's 2,100. Okay, so we'll put a 2 in this column, and we'll put a 1 in this column, and that's our answer. Okay, 21,994. Hopefully that all made sense, guys. If you're confused about anything, rewind it, that's absolutely fine. Rewatch the whole video if you like, and then once you've done that and you feel a little bit more comfortable with it all, there's a worksheet attached that you can complete as well. Okay, thank you very much, year 5. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.